Hey guys, it's the Urban Investor here, back with another video, and today I want to look at my top 10 coins to buy on the altcoin dip. Now, I released a video yesterday talking about why I believe Bitcoin is due a bull run, and subsequently why altcoins are gonna be going through a bit of a bear correction. So let's jump into it and find out what my picks are. Now, first of all, I just want to put out there, this video is actually only part one of two in terms of my coins. And the reason for that is trying to do 10 on one video was taking too long, and in the interest to keep you guys updated regularly, I thought it would make sense just to split in two. So this video is completely my top five, or not top five, rather just 5 random coins that I have in no specific order, and on Friday I will release the next part and the remaining 5. Now, why am I not releasing it tomorrow? The only reason for that is I'm a bit busy. I've got a few things lined up, so I don't think I'll have time to actually release it. So hopefully you guys can stay patient, and in the meantime this video is useful and sort of helps you guys to line up some positions in the meantime anyway. So with that out the way, let's jump straight into it. So first of all, I've got Tron up here, and before I actually jump into this, another actual point that I should really mention, and that is all of my picks are based on technical analysis, what I see based on the charts, based on the sort of indicators that I use, the simple moving averages, the resistance and support levels, and yeah, so these are purely my opinion and based on what I see. So, and with that being said, definitely do your research on these projects, because I'm not going to really go in depth in terms of what each project's about. So it's really up to you guys to find out more information. Hopefully I've planted the seed of interest. So now that we've got all of those caveats and bits and bobs out of the way, let's jump straight into it. So Tron is one of the coins where a lot of you guys have been messaging me and asking, I've missed the boat. Something that I've done as well, and I've said myself, I've missed the initial massive run that we've had back at the end of December. From that point here, I mean, look at that, that's just madness, the amount of growth we've seen. However, as always, markets are going to correct, and that's when you get in. I've seen it with Omisigo, where I missed the boat on that one as well, and I managed to get in at the lows, and this is no different. So the question really is now a good entry point now that we've had more than a 50% correction? If you look at the chart, we've come down from 2000 sats back down to around about 800 sats, which is a massive discount. So for me, what would I sort of recommend? Now, before we go through that, let's have a quick recap of what the size is of the market and where Tron is, just to provide some context for you guys that I'm not sure where or what Tron is. So first of all, Tron currently has a market cap as of today, albeit maybe a few hours outdated, as I probably going to release this a few hours after presenting these slides. And the first point, we can see 7.3 billion market cap, so a huge player in the crypto space currently. Each Tron coin is around about 11 cents, so fairly cheap from a unit point of view. However, it's worth bearing in mind there's 65 billion in circulation with a max supply of around 100 billion. So with that out of the way, just briefly, what is Tron? Tron is essentially trying to be a P2P decentralized version of Google Play and iTunes. So what does that mean? It's trying to give users the opportunity to freely publish, store and own data without using a third party. So definitely check out the website, other sort of media forms and stuff like that, and the internet as always to find out more information. Now, the $1 million question you guys want to know, is this a good entry point at these levels? And for me, I would say no. For me, I'm still looking for more of a discount. Yes, I know, more than a 50%. Am I being greedy? Maybe I am, and it might pick up. However, at these current levels, I don't think my risk profile fits in, and therefore I think I want more of a discount to reduce my risk. And why is that? So first of all, we can see with Tron, we've bounced off the 21-day here, and we look to be potentially bouncing off again at the 21 day, which lines up around about the 600k or 600 rather sat level. However, for me at this level, I would only buy or invest 30% of my current funds that I have at disposal for Tron. And the reason for that is to sustain 21 day rolling average continuing to go at an upside is really difficult to sustain. And with all coins, we've seen it with Bitcoin, we've seen it with other coins. Eventually they will break down to at least the 50 day, which I have in this purplish color at the minute. So that's where, in my view, the 500 sat line will line up by the time we come down, and then again the 400 sat level, if we do get to that level, will probably line up with the 100 day. Now this lines up perfectly with these resistance levels as well. We can see we've had resistance at these levels, and again this further solidifies my view, in my opinion anyway, why these are good sort of entry points. So hopefully this has given you guys a bit more of a logical approach. And so where can you get Tron? So currently it's mainly on Binance. 74% of the volume is currently going through Binance. This is based off the last 24 hours. And then there's a smaller amount on CoinNest, which is around about 10%. Now there's a bunch of other smaller exchanges which I won't go into more detail, but all of these exchanges and market cap data that I have on the screen at the minute is all off CoinMarketCap. So definitely go and check it out and find out more information. So moving on to coin number 2 is NAV coin. Now NAV coin is one of the many privacy coins at the minute out there. It's having huge media attention. A lot of people are focusing on privacy now that Bitcoin isn't as private as we thought, and you can actually trace the transactions. So it's definitely go check out the website and for more information. As always, let's jump into the financials first before we jump into the graph. And we can see NavCoin currently sitting, I think it's outside the top 100 at the minute, with a market cap of only 220 million, so very modest comparative to a few of the other privacy coins out there. A unit price of about $3.55 as of today, and a circulating supply of 62 million with no max at the minute. So now with that out of the way, let's have a look at the chart. So we can see with NavCoin we had this massive pump in September, and then since then it's been sort of correcting, it's come down, and then we've bottomed out here and we've had a nice bull run. So we can see currently it's holding the 21 day. However, I think again we've seen with Tron, I don't think this is sustainable. We'll come back down to the 50 day moving average eventually. And what do I think from a TA point of view? What am I seeing? So from what I can see, we're having this nice sort of arc action, and for me, I think we'll have almost like a cupping. I think it's cupping they call it. I don't really remember these TA sort of charting names correctly, but basically it's a cupping shape, and this is what I expect for NavCoin to do. So again, similar to Tron, this is one to watch. I don't think we'll, or me personally, I'm going to get in at the current level. I'm going to wait for Bitcoin to rally and for altcoins to fall, and then I think NavCoin is going to be one of these to watch and buy in the future. So with that being said, what would be a good entry point? So for me, as always, dollar cost averaging, I think the 16k sat mark and the 12.5k sat mark are going to be some really good entry points. And as always, we can see we've had previous support here as well as resistance. So I think this lines up nicely for me, and this is still at the lower end. So yeah, this is my sort of 2 cents on NavCoin. Where can you get NavCoin? So NavCoin currently 60% of the volume is going through Binance, 25% through Bittrex, and 11% through Poloniex, and then as always there's a few other smaller residual amounts going through other exchanges. So moving on to number 3, which is a bit more probably unknown to most of you guys, and that is FirstBlood. Now FirstBlood is a decentralized esports platform built with Ethereum smart contracts in mind. So think of this as a gaming platform. Now we've seen how popular CryptoKitties have been on Ethereum. We've seen how the volume's blown up, how people have been using it, and I think with gaming there's always going to be a use case for this sort of stuff, the blockchain and digital currencies. Games have been using it for a long time now in terms of buying stuff on like FIFA and COD, and buying weapons and kits and stuff like that. So I think that you're always going to get a use case for this. So I think that's my 2 cents anyway. So definitely check out your website and make your own sort of opinion. In terms of what the financials look like, currently it's sitting outside the 150 in terms of market cap. I believe it's around about 166 at the time of making this video. If you look at the market cap, it's a modest 153 million. Unit price around about $1.79. Circulating supply of only about 85 million and a max supply of about 93 million. So this one's probably a lot more easier to explain from a TA point of view, and you guys can probably guess it. What do I expect? I expect it to go up. Now why is this? We can see we've had a all-time high comparative to Bitcoin back in June, and since then it's just been going down. Now what's happened in recent weeks and months? The downside has bottomed up, and therefore the downside risk is very minimal and the upside potential is very high. So I think that's my view anyway. We can see the upside is very huge and the downside risk is very low. So with that in mind, I think the entry point right now at the current price is a good entry point to get involved in FirstBlood. Now one thing to note is each of these candles are actually representing 3 days rather than 1 day of price action, and the only reason for that is because this period here was so long in terms of nothing really happening in price action. It was very difficult to get July and August into the same graph without the candles becoming really small. So nothing really major in terms of why I've done that. It's just purely just to make it a bit more easier to see the trends. So where can you get FirstBlood? You can get this on Bittrex, which has around about 70-80% of the volume, and the remaining major volume is going through OKX. Now number 4 is Verge. So Verge is another privacy coin. We've had a massive jump in December, and this is probably why I've sort of taken note of this and done further research. I've actually done 2 videos on Verge now, so definitely check them out on my channel. One is extensively, or within 15 minutes or so, going through what Verge is about and why is it a good investment in my opinion. And more recently, why I think Verge is going to break out. And we can see this from this side or triangular symmetrical wedge that we can see at the minute. So before we jump in, let's just quickly recap the financials. 2.5 billion market cap, so again a big player. 17 cents in terms of the price of each Verge. Circulating supply of about 14.5 billion with a max supply of about 16.5 billion. Now we can see with Verge we've got this nice wedge, as I've said, and I'm expecting a breakout around at this point. Now what's happened since I made that video a few days ago? So this was around about, I believe, around about this candle here, and you can see since then it's still held the wedge, so further strengthening my opinion in terms of I still think it's going to break out. We just need to be a bit patient, and as always we can see with the simple moving lines as well, I think this will possibly line up with the 50-day. It's hard to tell at the minute because it's still quite far off. However, I think sometimes the simple moving averages don't quite work out. It's just an indicator end of the day, and at the minute I think with me looking at the wedge, it's just stronger indication that it's going to hold at these levels rather than go down to the simple moving average lines. So something to bear in mind. Now where would be my entry points? So currently I've got in personally around about the 1.1k sat mark and the 900 sat mark, so my dollar cost average is currently around about 1k. So I think personally anywhere between 1.2k and 800 sats is a good entry point. And then where can you get Verge? So currently half of the volume is roughly on Bittrex and the other half is on Binance. So number 5 on my list is Vertcoin. Now again, I've done a video on this a couple of days ago, so I've literally just recycled the slide because the price action hasn't really changed that much since then. Similar to Verge, it's pretty much held the wedge, so yeah, so do check out my video because I do go in a bit more depth in terms of what Verge is about, what Vertcoin's about. So I won't repeat it for this video. I'll just specifically look at the TA. So where are we on the financials of Verge? I keep saying Verge, I don't know why. Vertcoin has slipped outside the top 20 market cap. Back in November when we had this massive pump, it was in the top 20. Now it's all the way down outside the top 100, and currently it has a market cap of around about 270 million, unit price of about $6.37, circulating supply of only 42 million, and a max supply of 84 million. Now, what do I recommend? So currently the 40k and the 50k sat mark are good entry points. In my opinion, this is where we can see the wedge is sort of closing down. And yeah, so I think at the minute this one might hold a bit longer in my sort of expectation, or looking at my wedge. It's looking at coming into play at the end of Jan or Feb, but as I said at the start of the video, this is more of a sort of watch or lining up your positions, as I expect Bitcoin to take a bull run, and then when that happens, I'm expecting the prices to dip. However, the only caveat to that is Vertcoin is one of the few coins, if my memory serves me right, to actually run at the same time as Bitcoin. So when we looked at, again, back in October, November time, if you remember, this is the time when everyone was buying up Bitcoin because of Bitcoin Gold, and then we had the Segwit 2x hard fork, which was cancelled later on. However, altcoins were, taking a killing at that point. It was blood on the streets for altcoins. So Vertcoin was only one of the few coins to actually mirror Bitcoin. So I think this is why I think this one's going to break out similar time as Bitcoin. So this one's not one of the coins that are actually going to dip further in my view. I think it will hold at these levels and break out, whereas some of the other coins we saw, it's more of a watch and wait until those price points hit. So that's it for my video, guys. This is just, oh sorry, before I end it, I prematurely ended it there. Let me just quickly tell you guys where you can buy this stuff. So Vertcoin is currently available on Bittrex for around about 70% of the volume goes through there, and the remaining major volume goes through Poloniex. So take two. This is it for my video, or the first half anyway. Hopefully this was useful. I tried to make this as brief as possible to hopefully not make it too boring. As always, keep the comments, likes and subscriptions coming, and I'll catch you in the next video.